welcome everybody back to the beach here in Dubai. An open division matchup between India and Germany here in this mid-morning, sunny, hazy, sandy, and windy here at the beach. Alongside two great voices of Ultimate, Megan Tormey and Brian Jones. I'm Evan Lepler. Hi again, everybody. Earlier today, we saw the Philippines Masters team win a classic 10-9 over Canada. Certainly, we consider that an upset. And here, another matchup between two teams in the middle of the pool. These are not two of the top tier teams, but they're also certainly not in the bottom. India 2-3 so far, Germany 3-2. And Brian, these are two countries where you don't hear all that much on the international stage. What should our viewers know about Ultimate in India and Ultimate in Germany?
And when you're looking at India, you're looking at a developing Ultimate community, a nation for a while that's been struggling to find an identity, and they've identified themselves as a beach Ultimate team primarily, specifically playing in Chennai in the southern part of India, and they're growing and continuing to battle. They've had a great showing so far at this tournament, and when you look at the other side, Team Germany, they've come in, they've been a middling team on the international stage. Last time, and they had some disappointing results when it came to Worlds last year in Lecco, Italy, where their prominent team, Bad Skid, was unable to come up with a promising result, reaching the medal round, unable to reach the medal round. But Germany has always been that kind of the middle brother on the stage, looking to try to increase their stature. Sometimes they come up with some wins over some European rivals, but most of the time they're sitting back there trying to see how they can get better.
Megan, you've spent time chatting with captains of both of these teams. As Germany pulls to India, what are your expectations heading into this battle?
Well, India has definitely surprised other teams at this tournament so far. Because of the proximity of the tournament to their home country, they've been able to bring some of their superstars who otherwise wouldn't be able to afford such an international tournament. So we're seeing some of India's top players who we've never heard of before.
India uses just 2 throws to convert the opening score, and it's Rajdurai Rajan into the end zone for Shivaraman Venkatasan. Apologies for the pronunciations, but we're doing our best, and Team India is up 1-0. Now this Indian team has lost 3 games to Great Britain, the Philippines, and Denmark, wins over Singapore and Ireland. Germany has also beaten Ireland and Singapore, losing to the Philippines and Great Britain. This Germany team did beat Japan. India will play Japan later today. So as they shake out pool play here on Wednesday, the final day of pool play here at the World Beach Ultimate Championships, and it is a thrill to be with you on Dubai Sports, on local television here in the Emirate, and streaming all throughout the world. Great to have Ultimate communities worldwide joining us today.
One of the first games me and Megan got to do earlier this week was Team Germany, and this is a team that looks already more composed than what we saw. They were working on chemistry the entire week and seem to be improving.
Yeah, they, we're frank about the loss to Great Britain. This is the captain, Bernard Otto, with the disc. He's been playing for about 20 years, and a little bit of a mis-release there. It looked like it came out of Martin Jakob's hand unintentionally. Not sure if that was a fake or the disc just sort of got stuck, wedged in between his thumb and forefinger there, but a turnover on the goal line. Got to look at it here.
I think accidentally held onto it just a touch too long. Looked like his release point was correct in terms of where his hand was positioned, but the disc flew kind of at an angle you didn't expect it to come from.
So India now looking in search of the break. The wind is very steady, but it's a cross breeze right now, blowing from the far side of the field to the near side. Doesn't seem as hot as it was yesterday, although it's still relatively early in the morning here in Dubai.
The temperature is beautiful right now for either team.
Looking for the captain, and India leads 2-0. Arun Pandyan. Been playing Ultimate 4 or 5 years. Started playing in school, and no one really knew the rules, but like so many, who start playing very recreationally, has become one of the top players in his country. Now he's the captain of the team that has a 2-0 lead on Germany.
Padian, such a good ambassador for the sport in his home country. You can just tell he's incredibly passionate about spreading the word of Ultimate across his home country. Talking with him before the game, I mentioned the height discrepancy between both teams. You take the averages from India and Germany. There's about a 10-centimeter difference. That's 4 inches for people who use that form of measurement. But he said, all the same, we're still going to try to work our deep game if those opportunities present itself, and clearly they did early in the game for them.
Brian, great quickness versus great size. Who usually wins?
It depends. You have to addend that statement and add in who has the better throwers.
Sure.
If India is going to put up 50-50s, the size is going to win. But great quickness will rule the day with accurate throws. And I think Germany has come out of the gate surprised. Megan, you talked about this team. India's been able to jump all over teams.
Oh my, what a great pull in the first throw. Turnover gives India another opportunity right on the goal line. Rajan picks up the disc, and India leads 3-0. Kamanantham Ganeshan with a goal.
And I'm stunned. I did not expect Team Germany, who's been improving throughout the week, to have this result against an upstart country like India. Call me surprised.
This is a great example of how much the rest of the team can help elevate the energy of the individuals on the field. When you have everyone rush the field after a goal, can help make you feel like you have the momentum. 1 point ago, they didn't have the momentum. Now we're 3 in. Germany has put nothing on the board. Momentum is definitely in India's favor.
As we talked about yesterday in the open division, 16 countries, all 16 will make it into the bracket play. They'll have a 16-team bracket, so they're not battling to stay alive, but they are battling for position, and these are 2 teams in Pool B, a pool that has been led by the Brits so far. Justin Ford leading the Great Britain squad to a 5-0 start. The wind continues to howl, and Germany looking for its first score, but another errant throw. The Germans just not in sync and in danger of being down 4-0, in the first 7-8 minutes, and India goes deep looking for Shivaraman, and India has absolutely blown the doors off German expectations. Less than 7 minutes in, it's 4-0 on a full field shot through the stiff breeze here in Dubai.
All of the momentum is going India's way. It's incredible right now how accurate their throws are. The energy, you can feel it throughout the field. Here, it's just didn't expect the 7.
Now let's talk about how a team like Germany can absorb this huge haymaker that India has thrown early. It looks like the Germans have taken a timeout. In Beach Ultimate, you only get 1 timeout for the game. Ultimate coaches love to talk about getting off to a good start, but the reality is, in a shortened game like this, the good start is even more imperative.
This was a crucial timeout for Germany. You can tell that the mistakes they made, especially on India's end zone, were completely a result of nerves. They were just completely flustered. And so they've got to pull it back together, pretend the score is 0-0. That's their best hope right now, is to mentally start over at this point.
It's really hard to have the mental reset because you just feel the pressure. You feel the agony of the mistakes you've made. Yeah. And it starts by gaining confidence in one play. And one thing at a time, Ultimate, and like any other sport, anything you do is often just about getting that first thing going and building off of that. That's what Germany has to be focused on. They have to somehow forget about the start they've had.
And that's going to take some of the top players from the previous game, like number 22, Carsten Meinheit. He's been a crucial element of the German offense so far this tournament. He has been a leading goal scorer in more than one game. He's the leading goal scorer in the game against the Philippines and the leading assist maker in the game against Ireland. It's going to take players like Karsten Meinheit, Martin Jakob, and Captain Bernhard Otto elevating their level of play. I think the rest of the team will follow at that point.
We are combating the wind. There's Megan, you're on camera right now. Smile for everybody. We are trying to sustain our shade and our tent and still be attached to the soundboards, which is not as easy as it sounds. Here's the thing. Has India come up with a defensive play yet, or is this just all been unforced turnovers by the Germans?
I mean, this goes back, I like the way Germany started on the initial possession, and it's been all downhill from there. There's no chemistry. They're taking bad shots, making poor decisions, and having bad execution. And so it just starts with one. Get the first pass. It's very hard. And this is almost reminiscent to a game where we saw GB in the 2012 World Ultimate Guts Championships down against Revolver in the finals and get off to a start like this where they couldn't do basic fundamentals. The game did not end well for Great Britain. 4-0 lead in beach is incredibly powerful.
.6-kilometer-per-hour breeze. It has really picked up. Germany trying to fight through it and fight through the Indian defense, and that might be the first forced turnover. Sri Tharan, the dump defender, number 51 for the Indians.
Sri Tharan Raja, one of the taller players on the team. He's 183 centimeters, using his height to his advantage on that one.
So Germany regains possession. Open division matchup. Second of 4 games we'll have for you today on Dubai Sports and streaming online. Germany, the unintended target, but it's Eduardo Suero, who comes to Germany from Italy and originally from the Dominican Republic. And Suero lays out. Did he get that disc before it hit the sand? He did.
The Germans obviously ecstatic to put that on the board, and so will honor Eduardo's request to send love to his ultimate family in the Dominican Republic. He says hello with that score right there.
And this might be just what the doctor ordered for Germany if you're down 4-0. Some 45-kilometer winds, which just blew through here, and we're hanging for dear life. But this might play into the German hands in the sense now they're on defense. They can force India into having to go against potentially a strong wind. If it returns, it's just settled down. This might be the most fortuitous luck I've seen in a long time for the Indians.
See the whipping of the flags. We have all the countries' flags here on the grandstand where we are situated under a tent that we are holding down for dear life. India leading 4-1. And the wind has been steady, but it has died down just a tad after the nearly 50-kilometer gale force breeze we had not long ago. India has taken care of business with the disc so far. Another big gain upfield right on the money. That's the guy they call Jagan, Hari Haran. Low release flick on target for Rajdurai Rajan. And into the end zone again. Shivaraman to Hari Haran. And Team India leads Germany 5-1. Just out of the fingertip reach of Nico Kuno.
When you have a newer team playing international tournaments for the first time and the wind is picking up the way it has, normally that in and of itself is enough to unsettle a team, but I don't feel as though India has played like it's this windy at all. Furthermore, not 5 minutes before the game started, they were down 5 of their top players who were staying at a different hotel, hadn't walked up to the fields yet. No one having international cell phone plans. They had no idea when their teammates were going to show up. A few things counting against Team India at the start of this, but they are not playing like anything stacked against them.
You thought that only happened to low-level college teams showing up late on a Sunday morning? Sometimes it happens even at the highest level of international competition here at Beach World. You guys ever have to assess points on a college opponent that didn't show up on a Sunday morning?
We never did, though we could have.
I was in that situation a couple of times, but I've seen it less and less as the sport has grown in seriousness.
Sure. Well, everybody has Twitter now, and that's how you learn. The Indian defense starting to dictate its will as Germany just cannot find a rhythm. Pass intended for Jan Rether, incomplete.
Vivek Padyan calling for calm at that turn, making sure his team took the time to set up. Sometimes a fast break is worth it. Sometimes it causes you to make an unforced error.
Mohammad Wasim tries to get it off the sideline to Sri Tharan.
It may be early in this game, but if you're India, this has been an unsurmountable advantage that we've seen so far in the tournament. It would take a monumental comeback from Team Germany to put a dent in this, and just the way the Indians are playing with energy, you just hope they can keep it up.
So after a stoppage, India has it on the far sideline. This is Mohammad Wasim. Oh, and miscommunication there on the dump cut. A glimmer of hope for Germany. Germans in no rush to pick up this disc. Getting set up, 3-person straight stack downfield. Like a little bit of a zipper cut there, and Germany converts. Eduardo Suero has both. Germany scores 5-2.
Type of turnover that Germany will have to get in order to get back in this game, because I don't think their defense has done a great job of pressuring the Indian offense thus far. Suero, one of the international players coming into this game.
His home country listed as Italy, but he came out and asked us to give the shout out to his friends in the Dominican Republic. Hopefully they are awake and watching. It is probably in the middle of the night in the DR. That pole sails just wide, blading past the sideline. Again, India 2-3, Germany 3-2 coming into this one. This Indian team, though, so young, so much potential. Indian Ultimate has gotten more and more attention for the 175 grams documentary, and it's amazing what video has put together and created awareness about these countries in North America, that, and also just becoming a voice for these developing ultimate programs. And as we saw earlier with the Philippines Masters team coming from behind to beat Canada, just to the end zone. Oh, nearly the play of the day, Rajdurai Rajan. Uncanny athleticism. This will make a great poster, even though he didn't come down with a disc.
The wind picking up once again. It's going to to be tough for either team to really steadily work it down the field. I think that's the strategy you need to go with. It's going to be tough to string together 10 or more passes in the situation. Get it to your best thrower, put it down the field, take a chance. I don't think that's a bad shot by India in the current state of the weather.
And now Germany looking deep. Looks like there was a call hauled in by Michael Roth in the end zone, but this is coming back. Well, certainly dealing with the small piece of plastic. India knows as well as anybody, 175 grams on that Discraft Ultra Star. We apologize for the bristling wind. We do have wind screens on our headsets, but
I did for a moment, Evan, but it got torn off by this high wind.
I was gonna say the wind does not have much respect for the wind screens. Germany able to connect as Jakob Burr, the defensive captain, gives Germany its first break.
This is how you start to forget about the bad start that you had. You're now within 2. And both teams allowed on the sideline, India realizing they need to keep their energy up, need to keep the spirit they had to start this game. Germany being loud. We might see our first comeback of the day.
Yeah, we had talked about how many times we've seen a team go down by 3 points and then never able to come back from that. Only 20 minutes into this game, there is enough time for this game to be won by the Germans. Of course, if India keeps up the momentum they started with, at that point, there's no chance.
I'm sure even with the 45 kilometer winds here coming through, that most of these players coming from Europe and North America are still happy to be out in the sun.
Unquestionably.
You can see right now even we have the waves growing larger on the beach and coming in more rapidly. Maybe some of the tourists are unhappy, but ultimate players are used to this type of wind occurring.
India bringing the disc in at the brick mark. 5-on-5 beach ultimate experience. 45 meters from the front of the end zone to the front of the other end zone on the playing field proper. In India, another quick strike.
I can't tell you, Evan, as a coach, how angry I would be right now with the German strategy. At this point in time, when you have the wind going cross right towards us, you have to try to pin India to the sideline, to the near sideline. Right away, India's able to get it off and have an opportunity to use the whole width of the field instead of narrowing the field based on the wind.
So where would your force be if they're going in that direction?
I like the way Germany had the force. They had a force flick, but the mark needed to be a little bit no around and then help even poaching. Just give India the disc on the near sideline. That's where you want it. Give them a free pass, let them gain the 3 yards. In this wind, it's just so tough to score on the far side of the field when going in that direction.
Yeah, then Katisan was able to throw that all the way across the field to Hari Haran, who was wide open. Even though the wind was pushing in that direction, he had the space to put the spin on it that he needed to keep the wind out of the equation.
Well, the wind has climbed the ladder again as India leads it now 6-3. 6-3, India in front, doubling up Germany through 22 minutes and change. Now forcing backhand India, and the Germans take a deep shot, the flick to the end zone, 2 throws, and a quick counter from the Germans.
One of the premier coaching stars and educational mentors of the game, Lou Burris, talks often about how the team that wins in wind is the team that gets to throw the most backhands. It's just so much easier to get snap on the disc to deliver a more accurate pass with a backhand than it is with a forehand once you reach this high level of wind.
Yeah, that's the same direction that Venkatisan threw just the point before, this time Otto delivering to Rether. Wasim was close, but lost sight of the disc. Rether was just a little bit faster in closing that gap.
And I agree with your point and Lou Burris's point, but both of those last two scores came on the forehand toss.
Yeah, the difference being there, Evan, and I agree with you what you're saying, the forehand toss. India started out with a forced backhand and let Germany have the far side of the field with an easy first pass. I would keep it flick in every direction here and just pin them very close to this sideline.
Basically, it sounds like your strategy is, you know, force flick this way, but nothing deep. Force those underneath throws to try to get them trapped on this near sideline and encourage that cross field directly into the wind throw.
Once you get them on the sideline, that's where your defense can start to clamp down and start to cover the deeps closer.
Ganeshan Murthy picks up the disc. Oh, and Germany with a layout D. Looking quickly to the end zone. India retaliates. How about that? Back and forth we go. Laying out to knock that away. Ganeshan Murthy, he's the guy who threw it away, makes up for his mistake.
I don't mind the shot there by Team Germany. You have to take a chance with this wind.
And here's India trapped on the near sideline, putting it deep to the end zone. Does it have enough float? It does! India, Kamanantham Ganeshan, taking half against the Germans.
That's a tough throw to make in this wind, Evan. And that's the only side he could throw it to. Germany needs to re-examine how tight they can play on this open side when forcing flick once the disc goes downfield.
About 20 minutes remaining before the soft cap here. And the Indian team that came in 2-3 leads the Germany team that entered this one 3-2.
India has actually spent quite a bit of time preparing for this tournament. They've been training for 6 months. They had 6 practice weekends as a team and then spent a lot of individual time working on training and conditioning to get ready for this specific tournament.
There probably aren't too many open teams that have the cohesiveness that India was able to get because they worked so much together before coming to Dubai. Germany looking deep. Right on target for Martin Jakob, and one more toss. It's the captain, Bernard Otto. Began playing at university 20 years ago. Getting ready for a nice Thailand vacation after his week in Dubai. Germany not done yet. Here in this windy match.
Otto really showing off how veteran he is with some of these passes into the end zone he's setting up, making it easy for Germany to climb back from the deficit they started with.
And the wind even more furious than before. It feels like we're going to lift off here in a second.
That's something that teams are dealing with all throughout the beach here. Field 1 through field 10 for sure. And the way it's blowing toward us in the grandstands, the bleachers certainly aren't impacting the wind very much coming from the far side of the field. So India here. Ganeshan Murthy finds a gap. Wasim was open in the end zone, didn't have a passing angle. Murthy wide open. Ambarish Jaipura. Murthy with some flow, tipped in the air and incomplete. So the door remains ajar for the Germans. Incomplete, looking for Tom Bowles. Both teams being aggressive, guys, taking their shots.
Something we talked about earlier, it's my belief that that's what you need to have the courage to do in the wind when it gets up to a certain amount of speed. Sometimes you have to take those shots and you have to be decisive in the way you do it.
Nobody really cutting downfield, so they get the swing, and the wind howling at its peak. Just punting one downfield, but Wasim comes down with it. Rather good part, and this is Jaipuria. Out of the middle of field for Wasim and AJ Jean. Ganeshan Murthy. Over for Rajdurai Rajan. 7-5, India leads, a juggle and a catch.
Almost an advantageous juggle, bringing them closer to the far side of the field where they can use the wind to their advantage.
Reaching up, Ajay Jean makes the grab. A downwind swing. Timeout, India.
Germany with just about as great of defense as you can have in this wind. First with that zone, forcing India to take lots of passes. At that point, it's a numbers game. You just hope they make one unforced error. And now with a really tough man defense, trying to force India to in the direction that the wind is going, making India think twice about their next move.
Yeah, we've seen 5-on-5 ultimate really for the first time competitively here, at least I have personally. And the zones are tougher here because you can only put so many people around the disc. It's giving India some space to work with. I really liked some of the man strategy that Germany had, but I think they need to do better downfield. They're letting the disc go deep along the near sideline where the Indians can put it. That's where the deep pass is going to go, and the Germans don't seem to be expecting it.
Great spirit down in the field during the timeout. India trying to get fired up. Just some tremendous athleticism from the youthful Indian team. A bunch of kids from the young club team Fly Wild, sponsored to get here, allowing them to come, and some of those young guys have really turned some heads. Captain Arun Pandian was telling us that the captain of this team, Arun Pandian, just 23 years old. One of the ambassadors for the sport in his country, as Megan said. So out of the timeout, India up by 2. Slash cut up line, too much on the throw. Jakob Burr picks up. Gains 15 meters under. And now to midfield. Open look to the end zone. Good air bounce on the disc and plenty of float for Tor Harms to track that one. Germany as close as they have been, back within 1.
A little bit of heated discussion afterwards, Evan.
A little testiness down there.
And that's something that sometimes you see from young players and young nations coming in
you see
to
on
the game.
Replay, Brian, a bit of a dangerous bid going at the back leg.
And sometimes, you know what, ultimate players kind of used to that. There's sometimes late bids, but that was past the point where the player needs to learn. That can be just unsafe for the German player that he ended up colliding into.
Seven, 6. Now the score. India and Germany. 12 minutes shy of the soft cap.
We're a long way away from where India was leading 5-1. And this wind, I think, has served towards the German advantage, providing unforced turnovers that normally would not come in a game where it looked like in most of our broadcasts that a 3-point lead was untouchable.
And it certainly helped that the Germans took the timeout when they did. They came together, collected themselves, and we saw play from individual players elevate, which in turn has helped the Germans as a whole.
India lets it fly. Go big or go home, and the Indians go long. Germany will have the disc down by just one. Remember, India started this game with 4 straight, has led from wire to wire.
The win strategy is always an interesting topic amongst ultimate players because there's a lot of different schools of thoughts that come about. A lot of times people like the idea, well, it's a crosswind, so let's force them to throw into the wind. But then they get free breaks and free dumps into a less windy position. Here you see India forcing flick, and I like this strategy. Hold them to the flick side, and you see Glenpool there throwing a backhand to the flick side. Knowing that the spin can be a little bit more, it doesn't matter that it's a prototypical angle to throw a forehand. The more backhands you can throw, the better.
Oh, was a foul called? Yes. Tang appeared to be hand blocked by Hariharan. And now they're discussing. Big spot in this game. We get a look. Ooh, hard to tell if there was any hand-on-hand contact there. And they talk it out and decide it's a turnover.
It's always so close on hand blocks, but that looked like a clean one, just the way it came out.
So Hariharan cancels the German throw. India trying to preserve its lead. A lot of float. A great read by Shivaraman for the Indian score.
And this is where going in we thought Germany might have the advantage. Tang quite a bit taller than Venkatessan.
So that last moment that disc popped up and Shivaraman alertly took a step backwards to adjust his route. You know, one of the things we see from developing countries and just young players in general, the inability to consistently read the disc, perhaps the most underrated skill in ultimate, but one that separates the great players from the rest.
Absolutely, and when there's a size disadvantage like Venkatessan had, that's the best thing you can do is just read the disc better than your tall opponent.
Brian, when you're teaching players how to read the disc, what are the things you talk about?
It's something that's really hard to just teach explicitly. It's not something that you can sit there and put into words, but you're focusing on the angle of the disc, and from there it's about experience. And so a lot of drills are going to involve right off the bat. We take our young players, we go through and we do speed ladders, and at the end of the ladder they get through, you toss the disc up in the air and they go up and catch it with 2 hands. Then there's the everybody loves the competition drills where 2 players go deep and you throw it a huck and you just learn how to position yourself based on how the disc is coming in.
By far the windiest it has been this week in Dubai right now. Germany and India. In the open division, 2 of the 16 countries competing in the World Beach Championships of 2015.
I think me and Megan don't have to do arm day after this.
You guys are really carrying most of the weight as we try to prevent this tent from blowing away. If this tent goes, I think Brian's going with it, which might happen. India turns it over. Oh, and Germany, but a foul call. Lefty backhand was deflected. The foul on Rajan. Germany lets it fly, trying to rely on the height, but that disc just taken by that breeze, which is coming across the field. Just a matter of experience throwing into the wind and realizing how much compensation you need to have for the wind on a deep shot like that.
Yeah, you almost need to throw in the opposite direction you want the disc to go when you're throwing into the crosswind like that. Just watching the flight path of the disc, you can see how hard the wind is pushing towards the bleachers.
That's an outside-in flick that will, again, not even make it back to the sidelines.
The Indian thrower tried to blade that disc in. Unfortunately, the wind is just going to push it into the ground.
The two teams battling not just each other, but also the elements here in Dubai.
Evan, tell me, have you ever had a broadcast like this where you've had to hold down the fort?
This has been a first, I would say.
This is reminiscent of the 2011 national final in the U.S. in Boulder, Colorado, where before the game, the CBS blow-up entrance flew out of the stadium.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, I mean, that disc deflected by Germany. The wind in Sarasota has long been discussed. Either you remember wind more vicious than this in Sarasota?
The wind in Sarasota usually didn't vary, but it would get up to speeds that we've seen today and just be a constant presence. So teams would adjust.
India recovers defensively. A great layout from Rashtarai Rajan, stealing that point away.
At one point, though, because it was a long time that USAU Nationals was held at Sarasota. Call on the field? No. And they actually had to switch the orientation of the field sites as a result of the wind. So at one point, they were just having upwind, downwind games, and they turned them into all crosswind games.
To prevent the Huckfest?
It's easier, even though crosswinds can be very difficult to navigate, it's much easier than a classic upwind, downwind game where you get a very big advantage if you're the first team to receive. If you're the first team to receive in an upwind, downwind game, there are games that have happened that I've played in personally. First team to score wins.
Rajan racking up the D's this point.
The turnovers too. Both teams, that disc is not going to be caught. And now fatigue becomes a factor as these points grind deeper. There's no way we're getting to 13 in this one, folks. 8-6, about 3.5 minutes shy of the soft cap.
I tell you what, I don't mind the shot, but it wasn't there for the no receivers were going deep for Germany in that case. Maybe just waiting a little bit longer for an opportunity to open up.
How your arms feeling, Brian?
Like I said, no upper body day for me tomorrow.
India makes a mistake in the shadow of its own end zone. Germany quickly sets a pivot foot to get back within one. That's just
looking at that drop, you saw Sri Tharan Rajal look away as he was catching the disc. That's another classic basic that you teach your beginners time and time again. Keep your eye on the disc until it's well within your hands before you think about turning your head to look at your next move.
And now Germany, which was down 5-1, has a great opportunity, especially this win. Megan, you've been in these types of games before. At this point, do you think they're thinking about it whatsoever, what happened at the beginning of this game?
Absolutely not. They have completely put it behind them. They're going to talk about it after the game, but right now the idea is to continue playing as they've been playing the last several points.
Germany trying to complete this comeback. The game has not been tied after the opening point. And a great find. Incredible vision. Shivaraman stuck behind the last level of defense. The Germans did not communicate to the deep. And India back up by 2.
I think the last few long throws haven't gone India's way, made Germany feel like they could safely back off from the long game, which India opened up with very successfully, very impressively. Then Katisan reminding them that their long game is alive and well.
I think Germany has, as like you said, Megan, have had this notion that India can't put it deep because of the last few points, but it all is dictated by the positioning of the disc on the field. If it's on the far side of the field, the deep threat is an option. The near side, the deep threat is only option along the sideline. It's not going to be able to cross over this wind towards the far side of the field. Germany not realizing the positioning of the disc, you have to play more honest with the disc on the far side of the field, and you can clamp down once you bring it trapped towards our sideline.
High blade pull. Germany lets it go. Oh, what a put. 35-meter backhand release from the lefty. And Germany gets the toe in. 9-8.
Meinheit to Otto, 2 players who I mentioned earlier have been so crucial in the victories Germany's won so far this tournament. Really putting in the effort when they're backed up against the wall.
Soft cap has gone on. Not 100% sure whether it'll be on after this point or whether it's on right now. If it's on now, then this is a game to 10.
I think based on the timing, I heard a whistle before we got to after the scoring, which usually mean that we will play this point and that we would add another one. But as you can see, the volunteers are conferring on the field, figure out exactly what the score should be played to.
If India can maneuver through this wind on this point, they'll be in great shape. Forcing backhand. The Germans trying to trap the sideline. The flick gotten off back to this looks like a forced middle here, Brian.
Germans staying a little bit more flat. They may be doing that.
The backhand force. Shivaraman. Hammer. What a gutsy throw. Team India. 10-8.
And the energy and drive we saw at the beginning of the game clearly returning with that hammer throw.
Brian, tell us how typical that throw is with a wind like this.
You don't normally see it. It takes a lot of gusto to be able to fit that one in there in the end zone. I think that's one of those no, 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 yes, yes, yes. If you're a spectator, fan, or coach on the sidelines.
So
takes a lot of gusto and takes a lot of guts.
So now that soft cap goes on. It's a game to 11. Germany would need to hold serve here and then break India twice.
And with this win, it's certainly a possibility, but you have to like the way that the Indians have been able to complete difficult passes in unideal situations, to say the least. Hey, Evan, I didn't know you were a parasailer.
I feel like one of those Weather Channel guys who's standing in the middle of a hurricane. That disc is going into the bleachers. And they may need another disc. Germany's back's up against the wall. If India hangs on, both these teams would then be 3-3 in Pool B. Obviously, India would have the tiebreaker. Two number 23s right next to each other, and now centering the disc, Martin Jakob. He'll be picked up by Ambarish Japuri, and now Japuri goes to the other handler, Otto. That disc just barely kept alive by Jonas Gertner. Oh, a foot block! It's still hanging! The game in the balance, and Germany catches a huge break to keep possession of the disc. A freestyler's dream. Suero for Otto to the end zone. Germany still alive, 10-9.
Jakob with the score, and Gärtner right behind him as a backup.
So now Germany, what's the mindset here? Needing 2 stuff and scores to win.
You got to put your best players on the field at this point. It has been long games, long points today, but I think with the way that there's a lot of turnovers, you need your best throwers out there and your smartest players, not necessarily your fastest. The disc is going to hang. You need to maintain good positioning and understand where the Indians are a threat to strike.
I feel like they're going to focus their matchups on Venkateshan and Rajan, 2 individuals who have gone deep often for India. Notice the last long put that India pulled into the end zone. The German defender was off by quite a few steps. I think they're going to play a little bit closer downfield this point.
India could win it here, but it falls to the sand. Oh, underneath, Shivaraman has been the star of the game. Number 99 for Team India comes up with a D. This is game to 11. India could win it here, and who else? Shivaraman puts the final touches on a Team India victory over Germany. Perhaps the greatest win for this country's ultimate program so far.
On the other side, a devastating loss for the Germans, down 5-1. They come back. They had a game plan that allowed them to get back into the game. Did not execute in the win as well as India did, because they were within 1, also with the disc.
A momentous victory for Team India, 11-9. Megan, what do you think this victory means to these guys?
I think taking a look at them celebrating on the field, it's easy to see that it means very much to them indeed. Talking with Arun before the game, he mentioned how he knows that their team surprised some people with their victories. I think this victory over the German team is yet another surprise, another feather in their cap, and kind of marks their territory. We are now a team to be considered. We are a team to be feared.
So Team India takes down Germany 11-9 in the open division. In just over an hour, we will be back. Great Britain versus Germany in the women's division. That'll be at high noon here from the windy beaches in Dubai. But for now, on behalf of Dubai Sports and SkyMagazine.com, we say so long. For our entire crew, and Brian Jones and Megan Tormey, I'm Evan Leffler saying so long. We're going to try to not fly away with this win. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.